federal workers must return to the office or risk losing their job.
And it comes as Elon Musk also wants government employees to submit productivity reports to justify their jobs. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis is live in the newsroom with the latest. And Antoine, the president is standing by Musk.
Natasha, yes, he is. Now, this despite the chaos and confusion.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Now, today's topic, we will be discussing tariffs, Elon Musk, Trump, the federal workers having to go back to work, and why that's so important to the U.S. economy, and all those fine things. But before I get into today's show, only thing I ask for you guys to do is to smash the like button, slap the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. Also, hit the AirTag EMF protection. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Now let's get inside or into the show. And how you guys feeling today? Hopefully everyone is feeling fine. We know that the weather on the East Coast has a tricky mind. It's about 60-something degrees at night, but that's a whole nother thing. We know that winter is about to end and spring has almost begun.
Confusion this weekend for many federal employees who were told that they needed to list what they did at work last week, or they may lose their jobs. Now, the FBI among the agencies telling its staff not to submit anything at the moment.
What? That's what I don't understand. These are the things that I just don't understand, right? Why you have some orders coming in from the president of the United States of America, right? Which is supposed to be some form of hierarchy, right? And you have these departments that's saying, you know what, you don't have to listen to what's going on. You can reply when you want to reply. What? It shows separation. Is he in charge or not? And the reason why I say this is actually an effective measure is because it's simply this. We know that the government has been frauding. According to the Social Security, according to d.o.g.e, they commit a lot of fraud. You have people that's 115 to 130 years old that's still receiving Social Security check. How? How can you receive something when you're dead? That's the first red flag. So by him sending out this email, like a progress report, right? It's to see, are you a human or are you a computer? If you don't reply, that shows that you might not even be alive. So that's the way of getting rid of or zooming in on the number. If you're simply not replying because you feel some type of way that Trump is in office and Elon is his right-hand man trying to get the business done, well, that's personal. You shouldn't come back to work anyway, right? Because they're trying to fix a problem and or aid a problem or bring light to an issue of accountability. Most people don't want to be accountable, especially government workers. Now, y'all, since the COVID-19, right? Y'all didn't have to go back to work. How long did y'all think that was going to last? It is now currently 2025. So y'all got stuck in y'all ways. You guys got caught up on being lackadaisical. Now it's time to actually untrain and unlearn and rewind and go back to what it actually was, right? Because think about it. 80% up to me, government workers don't do a thing. The 20% of the people actually do the work. Think about it. So now they want that to, hey, if we only need 20% of y'all and 80% can go, then that's more money that the United States government save at the end of the day if they're trying to trim the fat. But they're trying to make this trimming process so difficult. Everyone must be on one page. That's the point of this conversation. Everyone must be on one page. But let's continue.
Yes, he is. Now, this despite the chaos and confusion this weekend for many federal employees who were told that they needed to list what they did at work last week, or they may lose their jobs. Now, the FBI among the agencies telling its staff not to submit anything at the moment.
Crazy.
On Saturday, the Office of Professional Management sent an email
crazy
to federal employees asking for 5 things they accomplished last week. The directive came from presidential advisor and head of the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, with the support of the president.
I think it was actually, there was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people. Please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
The move comes as thousands of government employees have been fired or laid off, part of an overhaul of government spending. But pushback to the directive is coming from many agencies, including the Pentagon and the FBI. Fox News reports that newly confirmed FBI head Kash Patel told his staffers not to respond to the request, which, according to Musk, had a deadline of Monday.
But think about it, right? And this is how I know that they're trying to conflict and conflate. They're trying to conflict and confuse you. This is why, right? That's why you got to be careful with which news channels or what program you actually watch, right? Because it's going to program you to think whatever they want you to think. Use your own critical thinking skills. Now, as far as the FBI, it's most of its operation is classified. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that most of the FBI, the CIA, all those intelligence agencies is classified, right? So it doesn't really pertain to you guys. So why are you guys trying to make this argument to state that, hey, a certain agency, which is the federal agency, stating that, which is the intelligence agency, stating that, hey, we cannot send you classified what we done this week because it may be classified. You guys know that you guys are null and void. It's not for you guys, but the mainstream media will present it to make it seem as if it's directly to get classified information unclassified. No, we know what you guys do is important. It's in secrecy. It's detrimental to the public. It may create some form of panic, scare, anything along that nature. We're talking about the regular federal workers, the people that don't need a security clearance in order to work for some parts of the federal agencies, right? Not the intelligence agency. So you got to be careful on what you actually listen to and what you actually know. But let's continue.
By midnight.
It shows that, again, this type of idea of Musk coming in there with the chainsaw that he was famously brandishing at a political event in Washington, D.C. this week, it's a lot more complicated than that. Running government's a lot more complicated than that.
Some former and current federal employees have launched a website called We Are the Builders, which details anonymous stories of how Musk and the d.o.g.e are negatively impacting the American people. In California, a lawsuit has now been filed in response to the last line in Musk's post. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation.
If I could say one thing to Elon Musk, it's like, please put a dose of compassion in this. These are real people. These are real lives.
He's not pertaining to the real people in the real lives. He's pertaining to the people. If you don't respond, then what they're going to do is cut off that section, that sector, meaning that wouldn't it be in your best interest to respond? Hey, what have you done? Just talk about your daily duties. No one is telling you to go above and beyond on your response. He simply wants a response. If you don't respond, it can be those alias accounts, right, that are still receiving benefits and still receiving the taxpayer dollars that he's literally trying to get rid of. So you guys are conflicting these things to making it seem like it's something that it's actually not. If you want to solve for a problem, don't you have to get to the root of the issue? The man is getting to the root of the issue, and you guys are trying to block him from getting to the root. It's just that simple. But leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the federal workers going back to work and everything else. And I think this is actually beneficial to the United States economy, because think about it. If they actually do the work and get the job done, they wouldn't have any complaints at all. They wouldn't have any complaints. But if you're not doing something, right, then you have all the complaints in the world. That's just how I look at it. If it wasn't a big issue, you guys would have wrote back, respond to the email to the best of your ability. I'll respond to everything else, right? But now that it's something, I think it's the fact that he's connected to Trump, and the media are always going to have this spin on Trump. Like always, they're always going to have some form of spin on Trump, because That's their job. I think that's how they get their coverage. If they don't talk about Trump, I think most of these media companies are dead. They're dead. There's no point of them. They have to keep mentioning Trump, because if they don't, they won't get their ratings now, would they? That's just the business aspect of it. But leave your thoughts down below. We're going to go on to the next topic. And the next topic will be, let's talk about the EU taxes that's coming. The EU taxes, and how I think that the next thing that they will tax is gold. I think that gold would be taxed. And it's a president that actually, I believe it was President Carter, if I'm not mistaken. President Carter actually did the tariffs, and he seems to be very effective in the United States. So I think Trump is reading President Carter playbook. I think he's reading President Carter's playbook. So let's go on to Trump. Let's go to Donald Trump and the EU and his Oval and the meeting, the recent meeting that they just had. Let's go into that. But before I get into that, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and punch that bell notification as well. All right. Punch that bell notification, slap that subscription tab, and leave them thoughts down below. Run your mouth in the comments, please. Run your mouth in the comments. We like the interaction. All right, so let's share we are now sharing the Donald Trump and the EU. Let's go.
The headline before the meeting began was that Elon Musk would be there.
Mr. Musk, what's your message to federal employees who you fired?
Go back to work.
Not a cabinet member, but in every way, the world's richest man and unelected is such a central part of this presidency. And so in the end, of course, he'd be there. Inside, the critics' lines wrote themselves. He really was the shadowy figure in the corner. The black MAGA hat, his nod to his president's movement.
Thank you, God, for President Trump, Father, for appointing.
Pause. Now you know what they're going to say. Let me run this little part back right here, because the media has a way of twisting reality and twisting things. The fact that Elon Musk is standing up, right? First he was sitting down.
But in every way, the world's richest man and unelected is such a central part of this presidency. And so in the end, of course, he'd be there. Inside, the critics' lines wrote themselves. He really was.
The fact is, I wanted to free shot that one right there. The fact that Elon Musk is standing up and everyone else is standing down, y'all got to remember that he is not an official government member. He does business with America, which is considered a corporation, and he's considered a billionaire. And what y'all don't know is that billionaires and millionaires has more influence upon your government than any other class of people. Is that correct? But the fact that it's Elon and the fact that it's Trump, it's going to get let's just say overly publicized. It's going to be overly used as negative propaganda. These are the things that's going to be very contradicting, but you got to understand the business of the modern day media. Their job is to present negativity. Their job is to create mass confusion. Their job is to promote fear. So watch this week. The headline is going to be, how come everyone else is sitting down and Elon Musk is standing up? Is he considered the president of the United States of America? Should it be President Trump, President Elon, and Trump? Those are the rhetorics that they're going to keep on kicking and keep on promoting, because they have nothing better else to do. The fact of the matter is, if I have a business partner that have my best interests, right, and the United States' best interests, and he's actually working out the numbers, consider him the accountant or the tech support, why wouldn't I want this man around? If we both have the same mission, if our roads end up intersecting, why wouldn't I want this man around? Together, they can go further than Wells Fargo. Both of them obviously know that. But the media, what would they try to do? Can someone put separate and conquer in the chat? They've been doing the same tactics for years, right? It's kind of hard not to see. I don't even think they're trying to hide it anymore. They're doing it right in front of you. And this goes to show no one is safe. I thought this land was for the people. It seems to me that it is not. It's for a certain individual or a certain individuals or group or sector of people that wants to reign supreme among us all. But the reality is, without us, there's no them. That's what people have to sit back and realize and say, you know what? I have more power than I really think that I have. We all have powers, right? If you're born, you have powers. Without us, they don't work. That simple. That's power within itself. Not going to say too much. Let me interact with the chat real quick. Denise Session, if I mispronounce your name, my bad. Logical. Yeah, logical. But you know, Denise, most people don't operate on the logical part of their brain. They operate on the emotional part of their brain. And that's what's happening, right? You have, to me, the new Republicans, which is considered Trump and everyone else, right? The new Republicans. The old Republicans, they didn't know what the hell they was doing. We're talking about the new modern day Republicans, right? I'm voting for them. The new modern day or the same modern day Democrats, right? To me, they target your emotions rather than targeting your logic. Just saying. Now, do these people, if you understand politics, do some of these people, and I'm not saying all Democrats, but we're talking about the majority here, not the minority, right? At the end of the day, y'all know that they have, no matter what we say, because we don't get to decide on the presidency. It's called electoral votes. So I have common sense, but I'm going to entertain this because you just must, right? We're going to entertain it, and we want to make sure there's some form of clarity here. But do you know at the end of the day, they all sit down together, blue, red, they come together, make purple, whatever it is, and they all still decide on our fates regardless. If you let them, they decide. They don't decide on my faith, because I don't care who's president. I'm still going to be what I am, who I am, and what I'm trying to build, and where I'm headed. You know, sometimes you have to take a detour, right? Or sometimes you have to switch lanes, but we still on the same road, baby. Oh, we still on the same road. That's all I'm saying. So I have enough common sense to know that. But I also have enough common sense to say, hey, if the Democratic Party, which been targeting your emotions, have been treating you foully for hundreds of years, it's okay to have a new concept, and it's okay to cross the street, especially if you crossing the street will benefit you and your family. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. But a lot of people don't even know that. Denise said right on. I appreciate the comment, Denise. Only thing I ask for you to do is subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow my channel to 10,000 subs this year. That's my target. Not trying to. That's what the numbers will be. And I appreciate you for tuning on in. Also, hit the bell, slap the bell notification for me, and you can punch the subscription button for me. That's all I ask. And if you want to protect your family members, hit the AirTag EMF protector. It protects you against electromagnetic frequency. You know we have a phone. You know we have a computer. You know we have Wi-Fi in the house. This block the negative magnetic frequencies, or the frequencies that you can't see, right? Because humans can only see 10% of the things in front of them, right? So imagine the 90% of things you really can't see. Some are beneficial, or some are actually harmful. So that helps you to eliminate those things, put that on automation, and continue living this wonderful thing that's called life, right? All right, let's get back into the show.
Was the shadowy figure in the corner, the black MAGA hat, his nod to his president's movement.
Thank you, God, for President Trump, Father, for appointing us.
For the first 90 minutes, it was free-flowing.
Pause it one more time, right? Because we're having a healthy discussion. Can we talk about it? Grab your pots and pans. It's time to cook. Don't forget the spatula. Now, when the last time have you guys seen them pray inside of this conglomerate called the government. I haven't seen that done in a while. Have you? The fact that that's happening right now and they bringing prayers and religion back into schooling rather than the LGBTQ alphabetic community, their cultish religion, because that's considered a religion too, right? It's a religion. It's the only religion that I know, right, that doesn't have a requirement. My God. My God. So I think this is a new year. We're turning the page. We want everyone to be on one page. Now, what you do in your privacy of your home is what you do in the privacy of your home. No one can control that. If you want to be part of that community on your own private time, may God bless you. That's on you. But if you want to do it inside of the public, right? And I always had to think about this. If you're doing it into the public atmosphere, do you know it's such things called influence? Do you know what minds you're influencing? The minds that isn't developed. I'm talking about kids that need a form of a sense of direction, that look up at the adults in order for you to direct them. So when the kids are looking up and saying, hey, what am I influenced or what's influential? That's why influence is so important. And there's no guidelines between that, then that's the problem that I have with that community. Now, what you do in the privacy of your own home, go ahead and do that. You're an adult. You get to deal with your consequences, though I believe in multiplying on earth and being very fruitful. That's what I believe in. But just because I believe in it doesn't mean that you believe in it as well. But keep that thing behind closed door. Don't come out in public with that because you're influencing the wrong crowd of underdeveloped minds. That's all I'm saying. And to pray, it shows that things, when you pray, you generally on one accord. So that's all that shows. It shows that they're trying to be on one accord, right? It shows that I don't know that the alphabetic community, I don't even think they have a prayer. All of them are damn near fighting amongst each other. Some of them don't even say, well, I don't like how that group is representing us, and we're not really like that. It's because it's organized confusion, you know? But that's a whole nother conversation, right? But let's remain on topic because I can go to the left sometimes.
The intention was accessibility, or at least the illusion of that, because this White House is now seeking to control who can report in here. And as always, much of what the president said just wasn't true.
They spent $350 billion and Europe spent $100 billion. Now, does anybody really think that's fair?
Nope.
He repeated the claim that America had paid more than Europe to Ukraine and that Europe's funding is a loan.
The money they spent, they get back. But the money we spent, we don't get back.
Whoa.
But it was how he framed things that was so striking. On the EU,
European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest.
On NATO.
NATO, you can forget about. I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started.
Facts.
His answer here was telling.
Is it also your policy that as long as you're president, China will never take Taiwan by force?
I never comment on that. I don't comment on anything because I don't want to ever put myself in that position.
And that was well said. Trump is like, I'm going to mind my business with that one. And sometimes I must say the United States have to learn how to mind their business, right? Because we can't come to the rescue with everyone and everything. You ever heard the saying, sometimes it's best to say nothing or do nothing sometimes? When you involve yourself in something that's beyond you, that's like, for example, you see two people fighting. You decide to be the intermediary, the intermediate mediary person to say, you know what, you guys should stop fighting. You get involved. Now you do more than saying. You try to break it up. Next thing you know, both parties are fighting you. That's what I see happening to America. Sometimes we just need to mind our business. Now, are we the superpower of the world? Oh, yes, we are. We're not going to let people pick on the bullies. I mean, we're not going to let the bullies pick on the smaller countries. I commend that. That's honorable. But some of these countries, right, they've been feuding and fighting for years. You got to let them squabble it out. You must let them figure it out. Because with or without you, they have things that they're willing to die for, right? They're willing to fight for, they're willing to lie for, cry for, commit fraud for. That's none of your business. And it's beyond you, the United States of America. So I like the answer that Trump gave. Look, China, Taiwan, I'm out of it. They're going to do what they do regardless, because it's like brothers fighting. Oh, eventually they will get it back along. They have the same core principle. Is China a superhouse? Yes, they are. But is Taiwan very primitive to what's going on in the world as far as the semiconductors and all of that? Oh, yes, they have strength as well. Let them duke it out. Let them congregate amongst men. They'll be just fine.
And if the French president thought he got somewhere on Monday over the tariff issue, well, maybe not.
We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all of the things.
The optics of all this were about control and about showing a leader and subordinates in a country built on three equal branches of power behind a rule of law.
Is it your view of your authority that you have the power to call up any one of or all of the people seated at this table and issue orders that they're bound to follow?
Oh, yeah, they'll follow the orders, yes, they will.
No exceptions.
No exception. Well, let's see, let me think. Oh, yeah. She'll have an exception. Of course, no exceptions.
The British Prime Minister arrives here in the hours ahead, and with that cabinet...
And that was well said. That was well said. You see, he tried to give you some humor there. Oh, let's wait. It's okay for her to... We don't want her to abide by the rules. Hell no. Everyone's abiding by the rules. That shows leadership. That shows power. That shows that you're not favored. That doesn't show favoritism at all. It shows that the man is there. He's on a mission. Obviously, he's on a mission. Remember, they could have killed them. They tried to kill them twice. From what we know, they probably try to hit at him every day, right? And they're probably going to try to do the same thing to Elon. Elon walks around with top-notch security. Eventually, he probably replaced the security members and say, robots transform. That's all I'm saying, right? He's actually trying to see, because if you don't know the input and the output, see, that's how I know Elon Musk is. He's very computer science. He's very much so systematic. Right? That's the word I was looking for. Very much so systematic. He cares about input and output. He cares about I's and O's, right? Ones and zeros. And to me, that's the basics of the entire universe. So if you don't know what's coming in, right? And you don't know what's going out, that's a big problem. So why not see what's coming in, and why not exploit or trim the fat on what's going out? If you want this, if you want the United States to be reign champion again amongst the world. Because right now, as far as the world, the outlook of the world, United States is not number one. They playing the piano with us. They are. You got something called the BRIC nations. Brazil, Russia, India, China. They got the Saudis that just joined, and 137 other nations that just joined. They're no longer even transacting in the US dollars anymore. You have something called crypto technology, blockchain technology that they're operating under. And to me, that's going to be the future of financing anyway. The American dollar is going to be destroyed regardless, because if you study money, no money has survived over 100 years. No fiat. Let's just call it the fiat, right? So what they're doing currently right now is actually building out a new digital infrastructure at the end of the day. That's why Bitcoin would be so important. That's why Ethereum would be so important. And I talk about these on my crypto channel. Go check out put at crypto do, and that's D.o.g.e as far as do at crypto do. Go follow that channel as well. Denise said, apologize, I'm sleeping. I enjoyed all the videos. I appreciate it, Denise. Good night. I appreciate you for tuning on in. But this is the late night show sometimes, so I'll be up for a couple of hours. I'll be up until about 7 in the morning. What I do is I work for 8 hours. I work on my private business for 8 hours. That's 16 hours, right? And then the other 16 to 18 hours, and then the other remaining hours I can sleep and go work out and do all this other stuff. But I appreciate you for tuning on in, Denise. I appreciate you very much. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful night. Okay, so let's go on to the next subject matter. And the next subject matter, we're going to talk about the migrants, right? We're going to talk about the migrants. Next subject matters is the migrants. So let's talk about the migrants and what's going on with that.
Yesterday. I await more information, but the question is, does this reflect a view on your part that the American immigration system has never been properly monetized as you feel it should be?
Well, not so much monetized. It hasn't been properly run.
Facts.
I get calls from, as an example, companies where they want to hire the number one student at a school. A person comes from India, China, Japan, lots of different places, and they go to Harvard, the Wharton School of Finance, they go to Yale, they go to all great schools, and they graduate number one in their class, and they're made job offers, but the offer is immediately rescinded because you have no idea whether or not that person can stay in the country. I want to be able to have that person stay in the country. These companies can go and buy a gold card, and they can use it as a matter of recruitment. At the same time, the company is using that money to pay down debt. We're going to pay down a lot of debt with that. And I think the gold card is going to be used by not only for that. I mean, they'll be used by companies. I mean, I could see Apple. I've spoken with Tim Cook, and by the way, he's going to make a $500 billion investment in the country only because of the results of the election.
Now, y'all heard what he just said about Tim Cook. He's cooking. See, do you know that one of the largest companies in the world, if not the largest company in the world, is considered Apple, correct? Apple have outsourced and they went over to China and everywhere else to assemble their parts and their phones and their technologies and their motherboards and everything else, right? Apple's returning home to the Americas. Why? Because it would be tax incentives for them to actually do so. The reason why they left in the first place is because they were undermined by the United States government. Now they have someone in power that understands the business structure is saying, why are you going over there to get all these products where we can simply build and get the materials here in the United States of America? Why not bring your business back home? We will make sure that this goes this way, this goes that way. You be incentivized and come on down. Why do you think that in the United States, that's why I say this is kind of the best time to be alive, if not the best time to be alive, because the financial system is changing. It's going digital. This is the great time to start a company or invest in a company in the United States of America because businesses is coming back home. That simple. It's one of the greatest times in the world to be alive right now. Money will be transferred, wealth will be transferred, everything will be transferred. You have an equal opportunity. Everyone is back on the same playing field. You have an equal opportunity to play ball, right? And I'm playing ball. Just saying. Buy you some silver, buy you some gold, buy you some crypto, start some businesses. United States based. You will be incentivized for doing so. Because you know what question that ponders me every day? Because I do what I like to do, right? So I'm very passionate. That's considered your passion, correct? But your purpose has nothing to do with you and have everything to do with everyone else. So we see on this head it says, "Cross out the schools, the churches, and follow your purpose." And the reason why I stated that is because, see, your purpose is outside of you. So my ultimate question that I read on my whiteboard every day, that I look at my phone and have a reminder of what my mission is there are 8 billion people in the world, correct? As of 2023. The number might be dramatically more. We're in 2025. How can I add value to 8 billion people? That's it. That question led me to do a lot of different things that's outside of me. So ask yourself this question sometimes. How could I add value to 8 billion people? Because that's your mission now. Your purpose is your mission, and your mission is to add value. Just saying. Your mission in life, everyone's mission is to add value. Leave it better than how you came into it. Leave it better than how you came into it. That's what's going to make the world a better place, and you have to start with you. So how do you plan on adding value to 8 billion people? Write that question down. Look at it. Study it every day. Think about it every day. And watch how your mind works, and watch how you start to create solutions, and watch how the right people will come into your life, and watch how the wrong people will begin to exit. Just saying. Follow your purpose. That's the only thing that's absolutely worth it. Let's continue.
Election. And I think because of tariffs, he's going to want to be in the country because of tariffs. Because if you're in the country, there is no tariff. If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariffs. And that's going to be a great investment, I think.
He said it. He said it. If you are in the country, it's going to be tariffs. I mean, no tariffs. If you're outside of the country, there will be tariffs. Aha. A gold tariff is coming up next. This is why I say this. Pay attention to all the big boys and all the whales and what they're doing. JP Morgan and everything else, right? Did you know that JP Morgan just bought tons of gold and they let it land in New York just the other day? Tons of gold. It's a gold rush that's leaving other continents, other countries outside the United States, and now everything is coming back into the United States. People are running because this 25% tariff that this man have designed will keep the money inside of the United States, will keep the businesses afloat inside of the United States. Will we have a lot of turbulence before that? Hell yeah, because you're changing something and you're doing something that hasn't been done in hundreds of years. Like I say, the last president that did that understood economics, to me, I believe it was President Carter. He's Mr. Tariff Man. Trump is reading his playbook. I believe it was President Carter. Don't quote me on the actual president, but one president outside of Trump, a prior president, so he's within the 47 presidencies, right? 46 outside of Trump. They was known for tariffs. And to me, that's the playbook that he's following. But it built and it stimulated the economy, especially the United States economy, and made it superior because everyone had to pay homage. How are you going to send your products, your services, and your goods to the United States, but we can't send our products and our services and goods to you? That's considered a one-way street. So like I say, they're going to tax gold. I mean, gold is going to be a 25% tariff soon, because listen to what he just said. I just played it. Let me play it again. For the people just coming in, let me play it again.
In the country, there is no tariff. If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariffs. And
let me repeat that again.
If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariffs.
Run it back again.
There's a tariffs, because if you're in the country, there is no tariff.
Listen.
If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariff.
If you're in the country, there's no tariff. If you're out of the country, you have to pay tariff. They've been sending a whole bunch of gold into the United States of America. Gold right now is $3,000 an ounce. I just bought me some silver the other day. Gold right now is just $3,000. Silver right now is $33 an ounce. Which one are you going to buy? Which one has the most profit, the most growth? But gold could range, right? If they put a 25% tariff on it, gold is going to go up to at least $5,000-$6,000. At least 25% added on to the $3,000 that it's already at. 25% of 3,000 is probably another $700, roughly about $700 to $800 added on to $3,000. Come on now, y'all don't see the play? Y'all don't see the play? The play is right in front of you. Get you some gold. That's all I'm saying. Get you some gold. It's going to go up by at least 25%. Why? Because they're putting a 25% tariff on it. Can we talk about it? Let's just, and not financial advice. You get what you want to get, right? But I know that every week I buy a piece of gold, piece of silver. Every week. And if you don't want to, I like to own the physical things, but if you want to own the notes or the contracts, then you should invest in gold on the stock market. Invest in gold mines, aluminum, all the natural copper, all the natural elements, all those things should be invested. Also, if that's the case, invest in Bitcoin too, because gold prices will trigger Bitcoin. And also, this is what I noticed too. If they're going to audit the Federal Reserve based on gold, I don't know what type of audit they're going to do, but if they're going to audit these things, then it's a reason.
That's going to be a great investment, I think, that he's making. I know it's going to be a great investment, but we have to be able to get people in the country, and we want people that are productive people. And I will tell you, the people that can pay $5 million, they're going to create jobs. They're going to spend a lot of money on jobs. They're going to have to pay taxes on that too. So they're going to be hiring people. They're going to be bringing people in and companies in. And I don't know, maybe it will sell like crazy. I happen to think it's going to sell like crazy. It's a bargain. But we'll know fairly soon. I think Howard and Scott, a few of you really are responsible for it. But Howard, if you want to discuss that for a couple of minutes, I think I'd like to have you. I think it's going to be a very successful program. This is commerce.
So the EB-5 program, which has been around for many years, had investment of $1 million into projects in America. And those projects were often suspect. They didn't really work out. There wasn't any oversight of it. And so for $1 million investment, you got a visa and then you came into the country and ended up with a green card. So it was poorly overseen, poorly executed. Then you had our border open where millions of people came through. So the idea is we will have a proper business. We will modify the EB-5 agreement. Christy and I are working on it together. For $5 million, they'll get a license from the Department of Commerce. Then they'll make a proper investment on the EB-5, right? And we think Scott and I will design the EB-5 investment model because Scott and I are the best people together to do that. So this is joint. This is exactly the Trump administration. We all work together. We work it out to be the best. And if we sell, just remember, 200,000. There's a line for EB-5 of 250,000 right now. 200,000 of these gold green cards is $1 trillion to pay down our debt. And that's why the president is doing it, because we are going to balance this budget.
That makes sense. So what they're doing is bringing businesses in, bringing people that want to be United States citizens. And we're talking about some of the elites around the world. They want to operate and do business and have these tax cuts and these incentives. And they created a program for it. That's what I say. Trump, as far as the businessman, he's around the leaders that's for business. That's all we need. America is a business. Let's run it.
Budget, and we are going to pay off the debt under President Trump.
That was well said. Now, Let's go now to, we're going to talk about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. This is the part that they don't like, but we're going to talk about the government of government efficiency. I like it because it's holding them accountable for their actions. We know that the massive amount of people don't want to be held accountable for your action, but this one right here, Elon is literally holding you accountable by your action via the numbers. Let's continue.
Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're cutting, and it's an honor to have you. He's been a tremendously successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, they say, "How do you do this?" And he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words.
Well, thank you, Elon. Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the d.o.g.e team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the d.o.g.e team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt, now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt. It's not an optional thing; it is an essential thing. That's the reason I'm here, and taking a lot of flack and getting a lot of death threats. By the way, I like to stack them up, But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. I'm confident at this point. Knock on wood, knock on my wooden head. Got a lot of wood up there. That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, d.o.g.e is a support function for the president and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say like, well, is this real? Just go to d.o.g.e. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
And that was well said. Now let's visit d.o.g.e, right? Because I like to look at the receipts as well. And I like the fact that he's making just so transparent that you yourself, all you got to do is type in d.o.g.e to see what's actually going on. That's all you have to do is type in d.o.g.e to literally see what's going on. That is the site right there. You guys, let me make sure that I put this in the video description as well, as far as one of my sourcing, right? And this one is d.o.g.e, and this allows you to look at the numbers, look at the receipts on what Elon is actually doing, and not even Elon, what the United States government is actually doing. let me take down that. Let me move that out the way so you guys can see everything, right? Can you guys see that? We're just going to scroll. Department of Government Efficiency credit card update. Pilot program across 14 civilian agencies to audit unused, unneeded P cards, 7K accounts with $30 billion spent in FY in fiscal year 2024. Look, that's stated right there. Department of Government Efficiency, the United States government has $4.6 billion active credit card accounts, which processed 90 million unique transactions for $40 billion of spent in FY. See, just all you got to do is scroll down and look at the receipts. Scroll down and look at the receipts. They let you know exactly what they're doing. They let you know exactly what they're doing. So to me, this is very transparent. This is very much so transparent. Very much so transparent. Very much so transparent. You guys see that? Very much so transparent. On that note, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning, this is not the end. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. Appreciate everyone for tuning on in.